In today's video, I'll be going over the best beginner destroyer line recommendations for 2026. I have 4 destroyer lines to go over, with the type of destroyers being versatile, torpedo boat, smoke gunboat, and open water gunboat playstyles. If you're trying to pick your first destroyer line or trying to pick a new type of destroyer gameplay, this video will help you pick your next line to grind. The first line recommendation I'm going to have is going to be for the Daring line, which is in the British tech tree. This is going to be for the versatile destroyer line, and I'm going to be explaining why. As you're going down through the line, all of these ships have a very similar playstyle. Now, starting at tier 9, you do start getting a heal on this line, but the ship overall has a very similar playstyle where you have torpedoes that you're able to launch singularly or in full salvos. You have a short burst smoke that allows you to enter and leave engagements quickly, as well as having a very tight turning radius and good rudder shift. It doesn't have the best speed, but that turn radius does allow you to dodge incoming stones very easily. It also comes with a 3-kilometer hydro, which helps you be able to attack destroyers or submarines that try to push you, or you're able to push them, as well as having very high firing guns and having improved ricochet angles on your AP shells. This allows you to be able to pin targets with the AP that you normally wouldn't, so it allows this line to be very strong against other destroyers. Now, looking at the Daring of the tier 10, I'm going to showcase the build that you'll be using throughout the line. Again, I do recommend the Daring for versatile destroyer gameplay. If you like more like closer gameplay, fighting other destroyers, more kind of cap contesting, the Daring is definitely for you. So this is the build I recommend for the Daring line. As you're going down it, main arm in the first slot, second's going to be damage control. If you have coal, then you can do hydro instead. Aiming in the third, rudder in the fourth, because you can't do propulsion. Fifth is going to be concealment, and sixth is going to be reload. For the commander skill, I'm going to go over it quickly. Preventive maintenance in the first slot. The last stand for the second skill you're picking. Survivability expert is going to be your next one, since you do need extra HP. Then you're going to do concealment. This is going to be your 10-point build. After that, it's then going to be radio location, so you know where the enemy destroyers are, as well as enemy submarines. This is going to be your 14-point build. After that, it's then going to be superintendent. Sorry, 14-point build. After that's going to be superintendent, which is going to be your 17-point build. This is going to be to get extra heals, as well as extra smoke and hydro. 21-point build, is going to be adrenaline rush, and then the consumable specialist is going to be your 21-point build. And that's the build I recommend for the Daring line, and why I recommend the Daring. Something to note, if you're looking for more of a longer range destroyer that kind of has the same versatility of the Daring, then the Russian Grozovoi line would be a good pick. I'm less likely to recommend this one because it has a little bit more of a mixed play style. The Ognavoy and Udaloy do not play the same as the Grozovoi as you're going down. Most of these destroyers play more like open water. They're not really as focused on torpedo boating, while the Grozovoi is more focused on both gunboating and gunboating, as well as torpedoes. The Grozovoi itself is really strong. They did buff it recently, but overall, this line is a little bit more skill level heavy. So if you're looking for more of a tougher kind of higher skill level line, then I'd recommend the Grozovoi line instead of the Daring. But overall, I'd still recommend the Daring as a beginner line for people that are trying to learn destroyers. Moving on from the Daring line, let's move on to torpedo boat recommendations. So I'd recommend the Shimakaze line that is in the Japanese tech tree as a torpedo boat line. This entire line, as you're going down, has smoke and engine boost as well. The Shima is one of the fastest destroyers in the game for tech trees. Definitely it is for the torpedo boats, and this thing does have a lot of torpedoes. As you're going to be going down the line itself, you're going to be focusing on building into torpedoes, and this entire line has smoke, really strong concealment. Overall is really a lot of fun to play. If you enjoy playing torpedo boats, or you're interested in playing torpedo boats where your role is more scouting, spotting for your team, and launching torpedoes, and you're not really trying to engage with other destroyers, then I think the Shimakaze line is a great pick for you. Now, for the Shimakaze line, as you're going down, let me showcase how you're going to be building the Shima. Now, this is like as you're going down the line. So, like, you build each of the modules the same as the Shimakaze. This is how I'm going to be showcasing it. So, main armament in the first slot, the damage control in the second, the torpedo tubes in the third, propulsion in the fourth, concealment in the fifth, and reload in the sixth. Now, also for the note, in this particular line, the Harugumo and Kagero are really good in this line. You're able to build torpedo reload booster in these particular lines, while the Shimakaze you're not. So if you want to play more of like a risky kind of play style with the Kagero or the Harugumo, you can. Unfortunately, on the Shima, you're not able to do that. You only get smoke. But it allows you to be able to put out a lot more torpedoes. And if you're looking for more of a high risk, high reward kind of play style, doing it on the Kagero and the Harugumo is a lot of fun to do. It also allows you to learn how to use your concealment to your advantage, or just to be not too aggressive or not too passive. It kind of teaches you positioning, because if you don't position right, you're gonna get killed really fast while trying to use this. But if you're still wanting to learn the line or just practice, then you can use smoke instead. But overall, it's a really fun line to play, and I highly recommend the Shima. So let's go over the rest of the build. For the rest of the build for the Shima, starting off, you do preventative maintenance, then you do last stand, then survivability expert. For your 10-point build, it's going to be with concealment. 14-point is going to be swift and silence. After that, it's going to be fill the twos for 17 points, and then adrenaline rush for your 20-point. And finally, you can do grease the gears for 21 points to have a faster turret speed, because these turrets are very slow, so it's very much worth it to be able to build into to make them faster. But overall, if you're looking for a torpedo boat line, I highly recommend the Shima. Moving on from the Shimakaze line, let's talk about the smoke gunboat line recommendations. So I would do the Harugumo line as a good learning line for gunboating in smoke. So the Harugumo line is the sister line to the Shimakaze lines you see here, the Harugumo line here. As you're going down the line at first, from the tier 5 through 7, it's going to be more of a torpedo boat line, right? But once you get to the tier 8, 9, and 10, that's where it goes into the gunboating. So tier 5 through 7 is torpedo boating, and the tier 8 through 9 is the gunboating. And this thing specializes in smoke farming, using that engine boost to be able to move around. And then it has a torpedo reload boost if it needs to try to knock somebody out that's rushing it. Because this line doesn't get as many good torpedoes on the it only gets one set on the tier 10. So you have to use that torpedo reload booster to get your torpedoes back faster. But these guns do pack a wallop. They have a very fast reload, good range as well, and overall is a very strong smoke farming destroyer. So if you're trying to farm and smoke, farming targets, maybe do some spotting if you need to, or if someone tries to rush you, you just want to nuke them with a torpedo salvo and then use your torpedo booster to get another set, then the Harugumo is going to be a good line for you. So for the ship recommendation for the build, I do main armor in the first slot. Second's going to be damage control. Third is going to be aiming systems. Fourth is propulsion. Fifth is concealment, and sixth is the main battery modification for the faster reload. Now, for the ship build itself, I'd recommend it like this. Preventive maintenance first, then the last stand, survivability expert, and then concealment for your 10-point. After that, you need to build in the main battery anti-expert to get your gun range to 15.1 kilometers, because if you don't, you're going to be in danger of being inside of secondary ranges if you somehow do get spotted when you're outside of your smoke, because this thing doesn't have the best concealment, so you do have to be careful of that. Next, I'd recommend the superintendent to be able to get an extra smoke. That's going to be your 17-point build. Adrenaline rush will be your 20-point, and then finally, consumable specials will be your 21-point build. Now, that's why I'd recommend the Harugumo line. Now, if you want a more of a gunboat destroyer, like a smoke farming one where you can be closer to the cap to help contest caps, then I'd highly suggest the Gdanks line. The reason why I didn't recommend it as the first line, and I have the Harugumo first, is this line's a little bit more difficult to play due to how big they are, but this line overall is very strong. It has only HE, it has high-speed torpedoes that do low damage, so they're easier to hit, but they're more like flooding damage. You also get a surveillance radar starting at tier 8 and above, which allows you to be able to push out other destroyers. Now, this radar is a 9 kilometer radar with a 10-second action time and a 57-second cooldown. This allows you to position yourself near the cap, using that radar to push out enemy destroyers and allowing you to either spot for your team, to try to spot for them as your team farms your enemies, or you're able to sit by the cap, sit in your smoke farming a spotted battleship or cruiser. Then if something gets into your cap, you then radar it so your team is able to help push it out quickly. And with that fast cooldown, you can do that over and over again. Now, this line is a lot of fun to play, but it is a higher skill level line since this ship is like a behemoth. It is really big. But overall, if you want more of like a cap controlling smoke farming destroyer, then I'd highly recommend the Gdansk line. Final line recommendation I have is going to be the Kleber line, and this is going to be for the open gunboating line. So you want to open water gunboat, you want to have that maximum DACA going 1,000,000 miles per hour. Well, this is going to be the Kleber line. It also has French saturation, which means the more damage you take on your like hull, the less damage you take overall because of how the French saturation works on this ship, or on the most French destroyers. This line is particularly specialized in open water gunboating. You're using your really fast speed, which is 44 knots base. Then you have the engine boost, which goes 20%, which makes you go extremely fast. And of course, that's without the flag. You go to 46.2, then you have the engine boost, become one of the fastest destroyers in the game with about around 50-something-ish miles, knots, which are extremely fast. You also get a reload booster as well, which gives you 50% faster reload for 15 seconds. That's really useful to start permafires on destroyers, battleships, or cruisers that you're fighting. Or if someone tries to rush like a destroyer, you're able to rush to them, you can nuke them with that reload booster, which is really good. You're also able, since in the build I recommend, you get 16.3 kilometer range, and you're able to use all of that range, by the way. This thing is really easy to play long distance. So if you're looking for a long range open water gunboating destroyer line, then I highly recommend the Kleber line. Survivability is 25,900. Of course, you can still put the flag on. Torpedoes have a fast reload, but they are short distance, only 8 kilometers. You can use them in more of like a yellow rushing in at someone if you have to. Now, the main weakness of this line is the fact that it doesn't have any smoke, and it is more of the anti-air is really bad. So that's why it's like, if you're looking for something like this, sure, it's still going to be rough to play. It is definitely a high skill level line, but if you're looking for that open water gunboating, like maximum full speed, running around play style, then you'll definitely love the Kleber line. The entire line itself is a lot of fun to play. You start from down here, you go all the way down to here, and the entire line plays essentially the same. Open water gunboating, farming anything you can, destroyers, cruisers, battleships, anything, you name it. The Fantastique and the Mogador and the Kleber are the strongest ships of the line. The ones before that are a little bit rough, but overall, the entire line is a good line to play. It's really fun. But yeah, let's go over the build real quick. So first slot's gonna be main armament. Second, it's gonna be damage control. If you have coal, then I'd recommend the engine boost. Third slot is gonna be aiming systems. Fourth is gonna be propulsion. Fifth is concealment, and sixth is reload. For the build itself, I'd be recommending preventative maintenance, last stand, survivability expert, and concealment. That's a 10-point build. After that, you're going to do the main battery anti-air expert. This increases your gun range to the 16.3 kilometers. Now, for this line, you can build into radio location, which allows you to hunt enemy destroyers or submarines easier. But if you want to not do that and you prefer more gunboating, you can do Fearless Brawler instead, which makes it where if you're spotted while open watering or shooting, it gives you a 10% faster reload for your guns. So you can do either destroyer and sub hunting or for Fearless Brawler. It's more of a personal preference. And after that, it'll be Adrenaline Rush. Now, overall, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Overall, these builds I recommended are more beginner or people that don't have as much coal to learn, or not to learn, but to use. Overall, I'd recommend a lot of these lines with engine boost if you have more coal lying around, but I know a lot of people don't. So I didn't want to tell people to get this engine boost modification unless you have that coal going on. So if you guys see the build and you're like, hey, why did I not recommend engine boost modification on a lot of these ships is due to the fact, especially on the French is really important to have that, but I don't like recommending this engine boost because it does cost a lot of coal, and a lot of people that are like either newish to trying to go down new lines like this, they may not have the coal available to do that. So I didn't want to recommend this until like for more beginners. Now, if you are not a beginner and you have coal available, then I definitely recommend looking into getting the engine boost modifications for a lot of your lines, because that is very, very important to do. But yes, overall, let me know what you guys think of today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces!